Welcome back to the series. I started off with some close grip muscle ups. Ideally, I would be even closer than this because this is about shoulder width. But the problem with very close grip muscle ups is that I feel it a little bit on my shoulders. So doing those too much is not going to be good in the long term, although I still want to be able to do them quite well moving forward. But this is also a good variation. Even though it's the second best option, it's still quite good. And the main thing is that I'm challenging myself. So if I challenge myself, then I'm going to change myself. So what I mean by that is anything that forces you to struggle is going to make you stronger. And it's not really a good idea to get caught up in the little things too much. If you're always worrying about this or that, or like the small things too much, then you might become stressed out and not actually make the progress that you want to make. So that's just a tip or some advice for anyone who wants to gain strength. Don't pick exercises based off the little details of them. I would say that's more for like advanced people. If you're just trying to build strength in general and you're starting out, whether you're beginner or even intermediate level, I would say that's not really important. It's more important to just challenge yourself and gain strength eventually over time. You'll be strong enough to the point where I think only a few exercises will challenge you, or certain form tips and cues will be useful. So for me, in this example, as you can see there, struggling to lock out the final rep. Um, I'm struggling. So yeah, although I want to do a narrower grip, it's not really a big deal because I'm still reaching a point of failure, um, given that I'm still doing the muscle up. So as long as I'm within those parameters of pushing myself and completing the movement that I want to get better at, then I think it's a good way to train. So it's a bit more stress free. Anyway, with the close grip muscle up, I'm aiming to get 6 to 10 reps. I think I got 7 on one of these sets. So yeah, I'm not too happy. I wanted to get 10, but I know that eventually I'll get 10 because when I started out, I could barely do 2 or 3, and now I'm on 5 to 6 per rep as like a standard set. Anyway, moved on to some pike press ups on the floor with quite a high pike. As you can see, my legs are almost straight and I'm quite close to my hands. If I do lean a little bit forward, my legs will start to float, but I actually don't want to do that. So I'm deliberately trying to stay grounded because I want to push my shoulders and gain strength. So yeah, anytime you, so basically if you bring your feet closer to your hands, the higher the likelihood is that you're going to start to float. And if you don't want to work on your handstand and your balance, which is what you're going to be working on when you start floating, I would say bend your knees a little bit so that you basically are not really light towards your toes. So if you bend your knees, you're creating a little crease in your legs, and that little bend is gonna create a small angle, but it's enough for your legs to actually stay on the ground. So the more you straighten your legs out and the more you bring your feet closer to your hands, the more likelihood it is that your legs are going to start to float in the air because you're making your center of gravity come forward. And yeah, that's just a tip for anybody. So I'm deliberately staying on the ground. I want to push my shoulders to failure and get those boulder shoulders so that I can complete the handstand press up for reps. And actually, I'm going to continue to work on handstand press ups in this workout. So stay tuned for that. A really good exercise that I'm going to move on to eventually is the handstand press up against the wall. That one is just perfect, to be honest, because you're basically doing a freestanding handstand press up without the balance element. But I would definitely say start off with pike press ups, as you see me doing right now. Pike press ups is an exercise that I've done a ton of, and I'm still doing them, but I think eventually I'll get too strong for them. But I would definitely say for anyone who's never done them, they're very, very different from regular press ups. As you can see, my hips are high up and I'm coming forward with my head in front of my hands. So anytime you do a press up, your head is automatically in front of your hands. But if you straighten out your legs and walk them closer to your hands, you can actually come down directly in between your hands, which is a mistake that most people make. But by bringing your head in front of your hands, so like a little triangle shape, from your head and your hands, you will actually be able to feel your shoulders a lot more. So that's just a form tip on pike press ups. And the same way that I would do that on pike press ups, I'm actually doing it on the handstand press up as well. As you can see here, my head is coming out in front of my hands. And in terms of the upper body, this is exactly the same position as I would be doing a pike press up. So even though I might be doing a level 1 type of exercise with the pike press up or like a beginner variation, it's still being done the same way as I'm doing the handstand press up here. So it's always good to practice the easier exercises with the form in mind of the harder exercises, because eventually you're gonna want to get to these harder exercises, as you can see me doing now. And you don't want to have to adjust and learn the form at that point. You want to already have practiced it so much so that it's natural for you to do the harder exercises with the same form pretty much. So yeah, with the parallettes, as you can see, I'm using the handlebars, which are the parallettes. I'm doing a deeper range of motion, which is harder. And I really like this movement because I know if I can unlock this for 10 reps, for example, then my shoulders will get super strong. And in general, doing it on the floor is something that I can do quite comfortably for 5 to 10 reps, but with the parallettes, it's not that comfortable. So I'm aiming for 4 to 6 per set, and then I'm throwing in a half rep at the end, just to make sure I squeeze out as much energy out of each set as possible. Eventually, obviously, I want to be doing it without the wall. Um, as you can see, I'm pointing my toes and I'm pushing my feet against the wall just to bring my body out in front of the wall. So I want to make it as similar to a handstand press up as possible, without support. So right here, you can see only my toes are touching the wall. So that's just a quick tip for anybody who wants to make it harder. Just touch the wall as little as possible. You can even do one leg, for example, and then go down. All right, subscribe. Peace.